Hey guys, Eric Knight here, and this is The Knight Show. We have a lot of interesting things going on in our world today. 2013, if we make it that far, sounds like it could be a very interesting year. Supposedly, we have the end of the world coming here in another couple weeks, which I don't believe that, and I don't believe most people believe that. But it does look like we may have a couple of wars on the horizon. But more importantly, I want to focus on what I think is one of our biggest problems facing this nation, again, is the financial sector. I did a video just a couple weeks ago on this whole Fiscal Cliff issue, but it seems like it's still a very, very big part of the news. It doesn't really look like there's been a whole heck of a lot of progress made in the talks between the Democrats and the Republicans trying to formulate some sort of agreement before year end. Now, as I said before, I don't believe this whole Fiscal Cliff issue is something really that we need to worry about right now. But there's a couple things that I see as a result of it that are very concerning. But as I said before, if we go off this Fiscal Cliff, what happens? Well, we go back to the Clinton era tax rates, and some other things change. Not a huge deal. Taxes will go up. Barack Obama put out a video the other day saying that the middle class will experience a $2,200 tax increase on average every year if we go off the Fiscal Cliff. So we need to get these Republicans to obviously increase the taxes on all these rich people. So I saw an interesting article or video of Rand Paul the other day where he came out and said that we should just let these Democrats raise taxes like they want and let them own it, see what happens. It's an interesting viewpoint, and I actually tend to agree with it. I think, yeah, why not? Let's just see how smart these liberals and these Democrats are. Let's just raise the taxes. Let's not cut anything. Let's just eliminate that debt ceiling. Let's see what happens with Obamacare. So a couple things with this. What do I see happening? Well, if we do raise taxes on these producers, the people in the middle class, the so-called rich people, who I wouldn't really call rich, but they do employ a lot of people. If we tax them more, well, wages will fall, and we're going to lose private sector jobs. We're going to shrink the tax base. Great. Then we've come to the issue of Obamacare. Well, Obamacare, the way I see it, and I think it's common sense. I actually work in the insurance industry. Premiums are going to go up. It's going to cost more for health insurance. If you have to insure a bunch of sick people, it's not really technically insurance anymore. It's just another government welfare program. But if I had a business right around that 50 employee mark, that magical number where you have to start paying for it, why wouldn't I fire a couple people to keep it under 50 employees so I didn't have to pay for the health insurance to eliminate that expense? What's my incentive to grow my business beyond that point? I don't really see it as a good incentive. Additionally, with this whole birth control issue, let's say birth control is an extra $1,000 a year and you have to pay for it for all those women. Well, where do you come up with that $1,000? Do you just throw it in the mix, or do you pay the woman $1,000 less? What if she doesn't want to use the birth control? What if she doesn't have a choice? Additionally, what stops people now from discriminating against women, saying, well, this is just going to be an added expense? You know, why wouldn't I just go hire this guy over here? I don't have to pay for his birth control. So the health insurance, again, is going to affect the wages of those people employed, as well as reduce the size of businesses. Also, if you look at investments, if capital gains are going to be taxed more, why would I risk my capital in a risky startup venture, knowing that on top of the risk I'm assessing with the investment, I'm going to have to pay a hell of a lot more in taxes as an end result. Doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. So I think that if we do just raise the taxes, avoid the spending cuts, because Obama promised he'd cut stuff later. And well, do you believe him? I don't. Entitlements are off the table. And when I hear that, it just reaffirms my point that if we're not willing to cut entitlements, we're not serious about putting or saving America. Period. It's just common sense. Do the math. So I think if we just let these Democrats have their way, things will get really bad. And I think it'll get pretty bad in a hurry. And when that happens, well, that might be our chance to swoop in 2016 and offer some real alternatives and real changes. I think things might get bad so fast that people will start to wake up. It won't be the America they thought it was, because right now there's still a lot of people that are just completely blind to what's going on, and it's just so bothersome. I wanted to ask just a couple questions today. Just something to think about and put in your own perspective if you really follow the issues. One is, we have this elimination of the debt ceiling indefinitely. With that, if we eliminate the debt ceiling completely, do you personally believe that our government actually has the real intention of ever repaying its debts? To me, this just puts nails in the coffin saying that it's over. That we really have no intention of ever repaying these debts. Because it's so out of control right now, it's only going to get worse. And the second question, which I really don't have the answer to, but I think it is a thought-provoking question. When the bills come due, when the creditors want their money, when the interest rates rise, and it's time to pay the piper as Americans, how are we going to repay the debt? What's going to happen to repay it? What happens when our interest payment on the debt is greater than the revenues that we pull in every single year? The only real solution that I can see, which is going to be so devastating to the public, is we run the printing press. We print ourselves out of this mess. In exchange, we destroy our currency. Common sense. I mean, think about the price of gold. Back in 2000, it was something like $250 an ounce. Today, it's over $1,700. If that's not any indication of how much value our currency has lost, even over the last decade, I don't know what else is. Gold was the only thing that really backed this fiat currency that we have up until 1971. Now, it's just paper. And eventually that paper is going to be exactly what it's worth. Really nothing. So I'll leave you with those questions. If you have any real solutions, I'd sure love to hear them. But we'll leave it at that today. Hopefully, people in Washington get serious and try to turn this Titanic around before it's too late. But I think we're going to be in for a ride, especially in the next months, years, who knows. So with that, we've got much more to talk about next week. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless America.